In a dim alien command chamber, a terrifying anomaly unfolds. Human ships crowd the orbit of the feared Deathworld Terra. Alien leaders scramble to understand the sudden audacity and tactical precision. Meanwhile, humans brace in silent resolve, preparing for a battle that will shatter preconceptions and shift the galaxy's power forever. The council chamber was suffocating, thick with the low hum of countless datapads, the faint stench of recycled air, and the sharp, sterile glow of observation holodisplays. Hundreds of alien delegates from the Asari coalition sat frozen, their multifaceted eyes wide, antennae twitching in disbelief. Before them, the star system known as Terra, the dreaded Deathworld, flickered on the main holomap. A planet infamous for annihilating every known expedition. Its surface churned with violent storms and swirling acid clouds, while orbital scans showed a pattern no one had predicted. A colossal flotilla of human warships, sleek and black, hovered silently in close orbit. "Impossible!" hissed Supreme Commander Vral, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Terra was sealed decades ago. No species has breached the gravity well and lived." "But the sensors do not lie," countered the scientist Vrelka, voice trembling, her four eyes darting between the scans. "They arrived 5 hours ago. No distress signals, no warnings." The chamber buzzed with anxious whispers. Vral slammed a clawed fist onto the transparent table. "They are violating every protocol of survival and diplomacy." A sudden silence fell as the comm channel crackled. On the other end, a human voice, low and calm, filled the room. "This is Captain Adrian Locke, commanding the Dauntless. Terra is ours now. Resistance will be futile." The words hung in the air like a guillotine's blade. The council erupted, but Vral held up a trembling hand. What madness drives them? Are they unaware of the death this world promised? Cut to the human bridge, dimly lit, bathed in cold blue light. Captain Locke's gaze was steely, unwavering. Behind him, Lieutenant Sato ran final checks on the quantum cloak matrix. "Cloaking stable. EMP defenses online." Locke's voice dropped to a whisper, only for the crew. "We knew the risks. This world forged us. We don't fear death. We wield it." On the comm console, a countdown blinked silently, less than an hour before orbital bombardment. Locke leaned into the mic and delivered a line that chilled even the toughest veteran. They called, "Terra Graveyard. We turned it into a fortress." Behind him, the looming shadow of Terra's storms cast a spectral light through the viewport. The alien council watched the feeds in horror. The balance of power was breaking, and in that moment, a new dread was born, not of death, but of what humanity might become when cornered. Humans prepare their assault on Terra's surface, revealing their relentless spirit and advanced tech. Alien fleets scramble to formulate a counterattack, haunted by Terra's lethal environment and humanity's unyielding resolve. The planet itself seems almost alive, an unyielding forge shaping its defenders. Beneath the swirling tempest of Terra's skies, the human fleet waited like a shadow cast against lightning. The Dauntless hummed with life, quantum drives thrumming in sync, energy flowing through nanite-infused hull plates designed to withstand the planet's brutal EMP storms. Lieutenant Sato's fingers danced across the control console. "Nanotech lattice integrity holding at 97%, she reported. "EMP shielding fully active. Environmental hazard mitigation running ahead of schedule. Captain." Locke stood silent, eyes locked on the volatile surface below. "Terraforming drones deployed," the science officer intoned, voice clipped but tense. "They will begin atmospheric stabilization and resource extraction immediately after orbital." Locke. The Deathworld's fury wasn't just a backdrop, it was a crucible. Lightning forked through thick clouds, and storms howled like living beasts bent on tearing the fleet apart. In orbit, the Asari Coalition's command ships roared into action, their sleek biometal hulls shimmering with defensive energy fields. Supreme Commander Vrol's voice crackled across intercepted channels. "Deploy phase disruptors," Vrol commanded. "We will turn the storm against them. Terra's wrath will be our ally." Yet even as they launched EMP mines into the atmosphere, a cold dread settled over the alien fleet. Terra was not just a planet, it was a weapon forged by millennia of destruction and survival. On the human bridge, Sergeant Maya Kim checked the graviton pulse cannons, eyes sharp. "They think the storms will break us. They don't know we were born in the tempest." Locke smiled thinly, a flicker of pain in his eyes. "We fight not just to survive, but to reclaim what was lost. They fear terror, but it forged humanity into something they cannot understand." Across the darkened bridge, communications flickered with reports of skirmishes between reconnaissance bots and alien drones. The initial probes were brutal, each side pushing boundaries, testing resolve. Dr. Elias Mendel, the mission's chief scientist, stepped forward, voice calm but urgent. "We are witnessing something unprecedented. Terra's magnetic field is interacting strangely with the alien tech. Our cloaking and shields might work against them, but they are adapting." Locke's gaze hardened. Adaptation is survival, but it's not enough. Below, the planet churned, storms lashing at the clouds, the ground trembling with the slow growl of tectonic unrest. Terra was alive, and it demanded sacrifice. Alien dread thickened as they watched the human fleet hold steady, their dark forms unyielding against the planet's fury. "Why do they not fear death?" whispered Commander Vrol. "Why does this primitive species defy extinction itself?" Silence filled the command chamber as the answer echoed quietly in every mind. Because on Terra, death was only the beginning. The first human forces descend through the storm-racked atmosphere, clashing fiercely with alien sentinels. Brutal combat reveals humanity's unconventional tactics and iron will. On the alien side, shock and desperation deepen as their carefully laid plans crumble under raw, human determination. The drop pods screamed through Terra's turbulent skies, each a blazing streak against the violent tempest. Inside, the cramped metal shells. Soldiers braced themselves against the shaking, their breaths shallow, hearts pounding. The roaring wind outside was a roaring reminder. This was no ordinary battlefield. Sergeant Maya Kim's voice crackled in their comm, steady and sharp. "Remember what we're fighting for. Terror made us who we are. This world is ours now." The pod slammed into the rocky surface with brutal force. Explosions rocked the ground, dust and acid rains stinging flesh and eyes. Aliens emerged, tall, lithe, their bioluminescent armor shimmering faintly through the haze. Their plasma rifles hissed fire. "Hold formation!" shouted Lieutenant Rami. Alvarez as his squad pushed forward, their pulse rifles blazing in sync. The first firefight was savage. Bullets tore through corrosive air. Energy shields flickered and flared. Alien cries of alarm rang out, but human tactics were unpredictable. Grenades designed to disrupt the electromagnetic senses, coordinated flanking maneuvers, nanite swarms that clogged alien sensors and circuitry. "EMP pulse ready," Rami called out. "Deploy on my mark," Maya responded, voice tight with adrenaline. A flash of blue light enveloped the battlefield as the pulse detonated, frying alien systems momentarily. Confusion spread through the enemy ranks. In that blink, humans surged forward, relentless. Back in orbit, Supreme Commander Vrol's face twisted with disbelief and rage. "They breach the Deathworld's defenses, using our own electromagnetic weapons against us." Scientist Vrelka trembled, her data streams flashing warnings. "They use nanotech to counteract our shields. Our supremacy is unraveling." On the ground, bloodied but unbroken, Lieutenant, Alvarez glanced at a fallen comrade and gritted his teeth. "They think this world will break us," he whispered fiercely. "But terror is fire and steel, and so are we." Deep in the alien warship's command center, panic mounted. Vrol's usual calm shattered into frantic commands. Send reinforcements. Activate orbital disruptors. We must contain them. No, matter the cost. But as the storm raged and human boots pressed into the bloodied soil, an unsettling truth took root among the alien ranks. The Deathworld was not their ally anymore. It was a crucible forging something far deadlier, and humanity was the blazing heart within. The relentless human forces pushed deeper into Terra's savage wilderness, revealing the planet's brutal ecology and deadly secrets. Alien commanders struggled to regain control, facing the catastrophic failure of their tactics. On the human side, survival demands sacrifice, ingenuity, and grim resolve. As the true price of conquering a Deathworld becomes starkly clear, the storm never ceased. It battered the human troops advancing through Terra's poisoned jungles with the fury of a living god. Acid rain hissed against armor plates, lightning crashed overhead, turning the sky into a jagged cathedral of fire and shadow. Each step was a battle, every breath was a gamble. Captain Adrian Locke's squad pressed forward, their silhouettes barely visible through the swirling fog and endless downpour. Their boots sank into the dark, sodden earth, more alive than dead, a tangled tangle of thorned vines and mutated creatures. Terra was not a mere planet. It was a brutal tutor, a crucible forged by millennia of death and survival. The trees groaned, limbs snapping like bones under unseen pressure. Beneath the canopy, alien spores floated, microscopic killers that could collapse lungs in moments. Soldiers wiped visors, their eyes sharp beneath the dripping helmets. "Remember your drills." Locke's voice was firm but calm over the comms. "Keep formation tight. Watch each other's backs." Beside him, Sergeant Maya Kim crouched, scanning the undergrowth with a biosensor pulse rifle. Her jaw was clenched, every muscle taut with exhaustion and pain. The others moved like ghosts, shadows in a world that wanted them dead. "Movement at 2 o'clock, whispered Lieutenant Rami Alvarez. They froze. From the bushes, a mass of writhing tendrils erupted, thrashing like serpents. A giant, luminescent insect, 3 meters wide, crashed into the squad. Maya fired a pulse burst, the electric bolts searing through chitinous armor. The creature screamed a high-pitched shriek that seemed to echo inside their skulls. It fell, twitching, but the jungle was far from done. "Keep moving," Locke ordered. "Objective Alpha is 2 clicks ahead. We secure the mining outpost and establish comms." The mission was brutal. Set up a forward base to coordinate the incoming fleet and begin exploiting Terra's rare minerals essential to human technology, the same metals the Asari thought impossible to harvest. Meanwhile, the alien warships above the tempest churned with chaos. Supreme Commander Vral paced the bridge of the Nizra, his compound eyes darting across malfunctioning holomaps. Every advance the humans made tore at the Coalition's confidence. "We underestimated their resilience," he muttered. "Terra's storms do not protect us, they protect them." Science Officer Vrelka adjusted a sensor array, voice shaking. "Our phase disruptors are failing. Their nanoshielding adapts faster than our scans. We are fighting ghosts." Vral slammed a clawed fist on the console. "Send the hounds. Deploy the bioweapons. If we cannot stop them with tech, we will burn them from the soil." Down in the dense jungle, the hounds were already unleashed. Giant bioengineered beasts, bred from the planet's fiercest predators, prowled with unnatural speed. Their glowing eyes pierced the dark, their mandibles dripped venom. The humans didn't hesitate. "EMP grenades out!" Rami shouted, tossing pulses that detonated with concussive blasts. The biohounds roared, muscles spasming violently as nanoshields scrambled their nervous systems. But they kept coming. "We hold the line," Maya yelled, sweat and rain mixing on her brow. Suddenly a tremor shook the ground beneath them. Deeper and darker than any storm, the jungle seemed to breathe, alive and aware. Locke felt it too. A cold shiver of something ancient and primal. "Fall back to the ridge," he ordered. "Regroup, wait for extraction." The squad moved through mud and broken branches, narrowly avoiding snapping roots and acidic pools that bubbled with unknown toxins. Above, the sky flashed again, a sickly green lightning tearing across the clouds. In that eerie light, the outlines of gigantic alien warships hovered silently watching. Back on the bridge of the Dauntless, Dr. Elias Mendel pored over the latest scans. His pale face was lit only by the flickering screens. The planet's magnetic field is fluctuating unpredictably. There's a resonance with the human nanotech. Locke's voice was steady but grim. You mean Terra itself is interfering with their tech? How? Mendel rubbed his temple. I don't know yet. But I believe Terra's geology is not just a hazard. It's a weapon integrated with ancient tech buried beneath the surface. Some civilization came before us, left this place rigged to kill invaders. The weight of that revelation settled on everyone like a lead cloak. How do we fight a planet? Maya asked quietly. By becoming part of it, Locke said. By turning its death into our strength. Meanwhile, back on the Nizra, Commander Vrul struggled to maintain composure as reports flooded in. Losses, failed attacks, human forces digging deeper. Send the Psi scanners, he demanded. Find their commanders. Crush their minds if we cannot crush their bodies. The alien telepaths probed the human signals but found only silence. Locke's team had gone dark, their calm silence a symbol of stubborn defiance. In the jungle, as the night closed in, the humans huddled around sparse fires. They were bloodied, exhausted, but unbroken. Locke looked at the ragged faces of his soldiers. We came to claim Terra. We will not leave until the last breath. Maya's gaze flickered toward the howling darkness beyond the firelight. What are we really fighting? She whispered. The aliens or the planet itself? A sudden shriek pierced the night. A massive beast, bigger and more ferocious than any they'd encountered. Locke drew his sidearm, voice cold steel. Both, and we will win. The alien command chamber was descending into chaos. Vral's once commanding presence was cracking. They treat death as a weapon, he spat. They embrace sacrifice. Vrelka's eyes were wide with fear and awe. Their technology isn't just advanced, it's symbiotic with the planet's fury. They don't fear Terra, they are Terra, Vral's claws curled into fists. Then we will break Terra itself to break them. But deep in his heart, a terrifying thought gnawed. Terra's orbit was no longer just a battlefield, it was a tomb for the Coalition's arrogance. The human forces grapple with Terra's relentless ecosystem and intensifying alien counterattacks. Amidst desperate combat, a startling discovery shakes the survivors. Ancient ruins hidden beneath the Deathworld's surface, hinting at a civilization older and deadlier than anyone expected. Meanwhile, alien commanders spiral into paranoia, fearing not just the humans, but the unknown forces Terra conceals. Rain fell in sheets, a brutal symphony of water and thunder that beat against the battered human encampment. The fires sputtered, shadows dancing in the smoky haze. Soldiers moved with weary precision, their faces drawn and dirt-streaked beneath mud-caked helmets. Captain Adrian Locke stood at the perimeter, eyes scanning the jagged horizon, where twisted, blackened trees clawed at the sky like the hands of the dead. He felt every ache in his body, the bruises, cuts, and exhaustion, but pushed down the pain. There was no room for weakness here. "Report!" Locke barked as Sergeant Maya Kim approached, her respirator hissing softly with every breath. "We lost another squad on the eastern ridge," she said grimly. "Biohounds tore through their perimeter before we could react." Rami barely escaped with half his men, Locke nodded, swallowing the rising knot of dread. "How long before reinforcements arrive?" Maya shook her head. "No word from the fleet. Comms are still down in the forward zone." The silence was heavy. Terra's storms severed every fragile line of communication, leaving them isolated, cut off deep in a world that wanted them dead. "Get the engineers on the anti-spore filters," Locke ordered. "If those spores get inside the suits, it's over for us." A tremor rippled through the ground beneath their feet. The jungle seemed to shudder, as if warning of something darker lurking below. "Captain," whispered Corporal Asher Verma, a young scout who had joined them barely 2 weeks before, "we've been picking up strange signals, pulses beneath the soil." Locke's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "Not alien tech, older, something buried." Before they could probe further, a piercing scream split the night, followed by an explosion that sent shards of dirt and stone flying. Soldiers scrambled toward the noise, weapons raised. The eastern ridge was under attack. Flames licked the sky as bioengineered beasts, larger and more ferocious than before, clawed and snapped through human defenses. Their snarls echoed with unnatural ferocity, terrifying even the battle-hardened. Lieutenant Rami Alvarez's voice crackled over the comm. "We're holding the line, but it's collapsing fast. They're adapting. These beasts learn faster than we can kill them." Locke clenched his fists. "Fall back to fallback point Bravo. We regroup there, no exceptions." The retreat was chaotic, shadows and screams weaving through the rain-soaked underbrush. Maya covered their withdrawal with pulse rifle bursts, eyes wild with determination as moaned. They reached fallback. The earth beneath them shifted violently. A fissure opened, glowing faintly with an eerie blue light. "Everyone back!" Locke shouted, pulling his men away just as the ground split open, revealing an ancient stone structure buried beneath the jungle floor. The soldiers stared in disbelief. Ruins carved from unknown rock, etched with symbols neither human nor alien. "Ancient?" Maya breathed, stepping closer. Asher's scanner beeped wildly. "This tech is old, older than anything in the Coalition archives." Locke's mind raced. Could this be why Terra is a Deathworld, the planet's defense system, maybe a weapon, left behind? Suddenly, the structure's interior flickered to life, lights glowing beneath the stone, casting eerie shadows on the rain-drenched faces. "We're not alone down there," Maya whispered. Above, on the Coalition warship Nizra, Supreme Commander, Thrall's rage had reached a fever pitch. His holomap showed the spread of human forces deep into Terra's interior. The failure to contain the invasion gnawed at him like a relentless parasite. "Send the spectral units," he commanded. "Deploy the shadow squads. We will cleanse the planet with fire and mind." Vrelka looked on, pale and anxious. "Commander, the ancient signals, they are awakening. Our scans detect energy fluctuations that match the ruins below." Vrall snarled. "Then we must harness that energy before the humans do. This planet will not fall." His claws danced over the console as new orders were dispatched. Bioweapons, psychic assassins, orbital bombardments, the full fury of the Coalition was unleashed. In the underground ruins, Locke's squad descended cautiously. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of ancient stone and unspoken menace. Light pulsed along walls lined with strange glyphs, and mechanical hums echoed softly, a technology far beyond human or alien. Asher examined a panel, fingers tracing the symbols. "This place is a vault. Something was sealed here." Maya's comm buzzed. "Locke, incoming!" From the shadows emerged a figure, human, yet unlike any they had met before, clad in archaic armor etched with similar symbols, her eyes glowing faintly with unnatural light. "I am Kayla," she said, voice both ancient and resolute. "Guardian of Terra's legacy." Locke tightened his grip on his rifle. "Who are you? What legacy?" Kyla's gaze swept the squad. "This planet was once home to a civilization far older than the Coalition. We wielded power that shaped worlds. When our enemies came, we sealed our knowledge here, binding it to Terra itself." "Why reveal yourself now?" Maya demanded. "Because the time has come," Kyla said. "The humans are more than invaders. They are the inheritors of our fire." Back on the surface, the battle raged. Explosions illuminated the storm, and soldiers fought with desperation bordering on fury. Rami's squad held a precarious position on a ridge overlooking the ruins. His voice over the comm was strained but steady. "Enemies are regrouping. We can't hold much longer without support." Locke's response was firm. "Hold on. We'll link up at the ruins. Kayla is with us now." Maya's eyes flickered with questions, but Locke pressed forward. The battle for Terra had changed. It was no longer just a war between humans and aliens. It was a war for the planet's soul. Vrol watched from his bridge, fingers trembling. The ruins' power was awakening, and with it, something far beyond his understanding. "Is this the true Deathworld?" he muttered. "Or something more?" His screen flickered, showing the approaching human reinforcements, and somewhere deep, within Terra's ancient heart, the ground pulsed like a living thing, waiting. As human forces secure the ancient ruins, Kyla reveals fragments of Terra's forgotten past, an empire of creators and destroyers whose power was sealed to prevent annihilation. Meanwhile, the Coalition's paranoia deepens. Their spectral units wreak havoc while Vrol grapples with dread. On the surface, trust frays among humans as the planet's true danger awakens beneath their feet. The damp air inside the subterranean vault was thick with echoes, whispers of a civilization lost to time. Captain Locke's squad moved cautiously, every step stirring centuries-old dust and memories. Kayla led the way, her armored silhouette glowing faintly against the glyph-covered walls. "This place," she began, voice resonating like the hum of an ancient engine, "was the cradle of a power unlike anything you have faced." Lieutenant Rami Alvarez tightened his grip on his rifle. "We already know Terra isn't normal. But why did you stay hidden? Why now reveal yourself?" Kayla's eyes, glowing a pale blue, met his. "Because the cycle has come full circle. The legacy we sealed here is awakening, drawn by your presence." Asha scanned the panels beside her, watching streams of data flow, symbols shifting like living code. "It's like a neural network, alive and adapting." "More than that," Kayla said. "Our ancestors wove nanotech with planetary geology. Terra's core is both weapon and guardian." Locke exchanged a glance with Maya. "So the planet itself fights?" "Yes," Kayla whispered, "but that is only the beginning." Suddenly, the vault shuddered as if responding to an unseen force. Lights flickered, shadows danced. Outside, thunder cracked sharply. On the horizon, Coalition shadow squads advanced, their bio-psi units cloaked and deadly. Vrol's voice thundered through the warship's comm, cold and precise. "Destroy the humans. Take the ruins. Harness the power for the Coalition." Spectral. Units dropped silently, slipping through the jungle like ghosts. Soldiers barely had time to react before psychic blasts tore through their ranks. Rami's voice was strained. "Captain, we're being overrun. The shadows, they phase through our defenses." Locke's mind raced. "Maya, deploy EMP grenades." "We can disrupt their cloaking." Maya nodded, fingers flying over her gear. "EMP ready on my mark." The battle inside the vault grew chaotic as the Coalition forces breached the entrance. Explosions rocked the chamber. Ancient glyphs cracked under the stress. Kayla raised a hand, chanting in a forgotten tongue. The walls pulsed, energy surging. Outward in a brilliant cascade, the Coalition soldiers screamed, caught in a web of electric fire. One by one, the spectral units collapsed, but Vrol was not deterred. "Send reinforcements! Bring down the vault!" Outside, a tremor split the earth. Trees groaned and cracked. The jungle seemed alive, lashing out. Asha looked up, eyes wide. "The planet is waking. Terra doesn't want us here." Locke barked orders to hold the line, but his mind was torn between survival and discovery. Kayla's voice cut through the chaos. "The power here is ancient, but it can be controlled." "By whom?" Maya demanded. "You? Us?" Kayla's gaze hardened. "By those who understand sacrifice." Suddenly, a beam of blue light shot from the vault's core, piercing the storm clouds. The sky cracked open with energy, and a low hum thrummed through every bone. Vrol's face paled on his command bridge. This is no ordinary Deathworld. Terra is a living weapon, and it answers to the blood of its inheritors. The Coalition forces faltered, caught between human tenacity and a planet that was far more than terrain. Inside the vault, Locke felt a cold resolve settle over him. "This is our fight," he said quietly, "not just to survive, but to claim our birthright." The battle for Terra intensifies as humans tap deeper into the planet's ancient tech, revealing devastating weaponry, bound to sacrifice. Vrol's forces face brutal resistance and unexpected human resilience. Amid chaos, Captain Locke and Kayla confront the grim cost of wielding Terra's power, testing loyalty, resolve, and humanity's will to endure. The sky above Terra churned. With electric fury, the blue beam from the vault casting ghostly shadows across the battered jungle. Every second the humans held the ruins, tightened the noose around the Coalition's plans, and the planet's secret heartbeat pulsed louder. Captain Locke crouched behind a shattered spire, breath ragged but eyes sharp. Around him, the remnants of his squad fired relentlessly, their weapons tearing through the shimmering spectral enemies that phased through solid matter like smoke. The EMP blasts Maya deployed momentarily scrambled the attackers' cloaks, giving precious seconds of visibility. But it wasn't enough. Vrol's psychic bio-psi units pressed on with relentless precision, searing human flesh and shredding armor. Soldiers fell screaming, some convulsing in spasms, their minds invaded by alien torment. Locke gritted his teeth. "Hold the line, we don't give them terror." From deeper inside the vault, Kayla's voice filtered through comms, calm and ethereal. "Captain, the core's resonance is stabilizing. The planet's defenses are synchronizing with your biosignature." Maya's eyes glittered with fierce hope. "You mean the planet is responding to us?" "Yes," Kayla confirmed. "The ancient creators bound Terra's weapon to those who inherit their bloodline." Lieutenant Rami's voice crackled. "So the humans are descendants." Kayla's silence was weighty. Locke pressed forward, shield raised. "We've got one shot. What does this mean? What weapon?" The vault's heart glowed brighter. Panels, scrolling cryptic data as nanomachines streamed into the air like living light. The ground trembled beneath them. Kayla emerged, her eyes blazing electric blue. The core contains a nanite swarm, an intelligence fused with Terra itself. It can disassemble matter and rebuild it, weaponize gravity and energy, but at a terrible cost. "What cost?" Locke asked. She hesitated, then said softly, "It demands sacrifice, life to fuel power. Only those willing to bleed for Terra can control it." A fresh wave of Coalition soldiers broke through the outer defenses, their psychic screams deafening. Locke fired relentlessly, but felt the tide slipping. Suddenly, a figure surged forward, a young soldier, barely 19, face smeared with dirt and fire in his eyes. He threw himself into the path of an energy blast meant for Kayla. "No!" Locke shouted, rushing to pull the soldier back, but it was too late. The blast struck him full on. The soldier collapsed, silent and still. Kayla's voice trembled. "This is the cost of power." Locke's jaw clenched. "We need a plan, and fast." Inside the vault, the nanites began shaping into forms, sharp tendrils of light, weapons of pure energy. The humans seized what they could, weaponizing fragments of ancient tech. Vrol's face twisted in fury. "Deploy the psychic shockwave. End this madness." The pulse exploded outward, a wave of pure mental agony that sent human soldiers screaming and clutching their heads. Locke stumbled, but refused to fall. Maya gritted her teeth, pulling herself up, countermeasures ready, neural dampeners activated. Slowly, the humans pushed forward. Kayla stepped to the vault's control console. "I can bind the nanites to our command, but I need time." "Then we buy you time," Locke said, voice cold steel. Outside, jungle flora began to shift. Massive, vines uprooted themselves, twisted by Terra's ancient will to fight as extensions of its will. A fierce battle raged, not just for survival, but for dominion of a planet, alive with power and sacrifice. Amid the chaos, Kayla whispered, "This is our moment, to be creators, destroyers, or slaves." Locke's gaze hardened. "We will choose creation, for humanity." With Kayla binding, the nanites, the planet's power surges through human ranks, transforming the battlefield into a surreal clash of flesh, tech, and elemental fury. Vraal's forces escalate psychic assaults and ruthless tactics, but the cost of Terra's power weighs heavily on humanity's souls. Amid carnage and sacrifice, a shocking revelation fractures trust, forcing choices that could alter the war's fate. The air vibrated with a new energy, not merely electric, but alive, pulsating through every nerve and circuit. Kayla's hands moved in fluid grace, fingers tracing ancient runes across the console. Each stroke summoned waves of glowing nanites, their light cascading outward like a tide of stars. "Bind to me," she murmured. "To us." Locke felt the resonance flood through his armor, syncing with his heartbeat. The battlefield's chaos dimmed momentarily, replaced by a hum deep within his chest, as if terror itself had taken him in. Outside, the jungle writhed. Trees twisted like serpents, roots bursting through soil and stone, striking with terrifying speed. Human soldiers moved with new precision, their weapons enhanced by nanotech energy pulses. Even the wounded fought with primal ferocity. But Vraal would not relent. His command ship loomed, a dark leviathan in the stormy sky. Psionic shrieks pierced the veil of battle as bio-psi units surged forward, their minds radiating waves of anguish and fury. "Crush them!" Vraal roared, eyes blazing with rage and fear. "Do not let the humans corrupt this world!" The psychic blasts warped reality. Soldiers screamed, collapsing into spasms. Maya fought desperately to shield her comrades with neural dampeners. But the Coalition's mental onslaught was relentless. Kayla's voice echoed in Locke's comm, steady but strained. "The bond is unstable. The nanites require a sacrifice." Locke's heart tightened. "How much time?" "Minutes, at best." A sudden explosion rocked the jungle. A squad's perimeter shattered, leaving bodies strewn amid shattered trees. "Lieutenant," Rami's voice trembled. "They're breaking through. We can't hold much longer." Locke scanned the horizon. The nanite tendrils surged, wrapping around fallen trees, channeling kinetic energy into devastating shockwaves. The planet fought alongside them, but its rage was unyielding. "Stand fast," Locke commanded. "Protect Kayla at all costs." But trust was fraying. In the shadows, whispers spread among the human ranks. Fear that Kayla's bond to the nanites might come with a price too steep. Some questioned her motives, others her loyalty. Kayla sensed the doubt, but kept focus. "The power we wield is ancient. We must be willing to pay with blood and soul." Suddenly, a piercing cry shattered the battlefield's cacophony. A scout burst into the vault, clutching a data shard. "Captain, new intel. The Coalition has a hidden weapon, an EMP array capable of severing the bond." Locke's jaw clenched. "We can't lose the bond. Prepare to relocate Kayla." As they scrambled to safety, a monstrous tremor split the earth beneath them. The vault cracked, glowing fissures spreading like veins of light. Kayla gritted her teeth. "Terra's heart is breaking." Vraal's psychic scream echoed in Locke's mind. "You will pay for this insolence." Locke tightened his grip on his rifle, eyes burning with resolve. "We'll pay in their fear." The battle was far from over, and Terra's true legacy was yet to be revealed. As the bond with Terra's nanites deepens, cracks form among the human alliance, secrets surface, and loyalties fracture under the crushing weight of sacrifice. Vraal's relentless attacks force desperate countermeasures, pushing Kayla and Locke to confront betrayal from within. The true cost of power becomes heartbreakingly clear, altering the course of the war. The soft hum of the nanites filled the vault's cavernous chamber, But beneath the serene pulse lurked an undercurrent of tension. Soldiers moved with purpose, but eyes darted in suspicion, whispers weaving like poisonous threads through the ranks. Locke stood at the edge of the chamber, watching Kayla interface with the glowing control panels. Her face was pale, lips pressed, tight shadows carved beneath her eyes. "We can't keep this up," Maya muttered, brushing a sweat-soaked strand of hair behind her ear. "Something's wrong." "Fear makes us see ghosts," Locke replied, though his own doubt gnawed like a persistent wound. Suddenly, Rami approached, clutching a holopad. "Captain, you need to see this." On the screen, encrypted transmissions played, fragments of conversations intercepted from human comms. One voice, calm and measured, spoke of sabotage, of plans to sever Kayla's link and seize control of Terra's weapon for their own. Locke's eyes narrowed. "Who's behind this?" Rami hesitated. "Some among our ranks, and it's deeper than we thought." Kayla's voice broke through. "I sensed the fracture before you did. The power changes people. It reveals what they truly desire." Locke clenched his fists. "We need to confront this now." In a grim meeting, they gathered. The core team. Accusations flew. Fear tangled with rage and desperation. Names whispered like poison. Trust eroded by the burden of command. Kayla met each gaze steadily. This power demands sacrifice, not just blood, but unity. If we fracture, Terra's wrath will consume us all, but unity was fragile. As they debated, a sudden tremor shook the vault. Outside, the coalition launched a devastating assault, a storm of psychic and kinetic fury. Locke barked orders. "Defend the vault, hold the line." The fight was brutal, every inch paid for in blood. Vrol's forces surged like a tidal wave. Relentless and unforgiving, Kayla worked furiously, channeling the nanites to reinforce shields and amplify weapons. But the strain showed. Her energy waned, her form flickering with exhaustion. In the chaos, a trusted soldier turned on them, weapon raised in betrayal. Locke's world slowed. The bullet struck Kayla's arm. She gasped, staggering, but her eyes blazed with fierce defiance. "Protect Terra," she whispered. Locke tackled the traitor, rage boiling. "Why?" The soldier's voice cracked. "Power corrupts. We can't let one control this." Kayla gritted her teeth, blood staining her sleeve. "Without control, Terra destroys everything." Locke helped her up, voice fierce. "We'll finish this, together." But the damage was done. The betrayal shattered the fragile alliance. As Vrol's forces closed in, the humans faced their darkest hour. Kayla's voice, though weak, carried an unyielding promise. "We are Terra's children. We fight or we fall." The battle for the planet's soul reached a breaking point, where trust and sacrifice collided in fire and steel. Betrayal fractures the human ranks as Vrol's forces close in. Kayla's wound worsens, and Locke must confront his own limits. A desperate gambit to fully merge with Terra's nanites forces humanity to risk everything. Will this final act bring salvation or destruction? The cavern trembled beneath their feet. The nanites' glow dimming in sync with Kayla's faltering heartbeat. Blood seeped through her torn sleeve, a stark red contrast against the ethereal blue light. Locke knelt beside her, desperation clawing at his throat. "Hold on, Kayla. You're stronger than this." Her lips curled faintly. "I'm no longer just me. Terra and I are one now, but the bond, it's fracturing." Outside, the battle raged louder than ever. Vrol's psychic shrieks tore through the air, ripping through human defenses like a razor. Explosions sent shards of stone and metal into the swirling chaos. "Locke!" Maya's voice crackled through comms, tense but resolute. "Vrol's pushing for a total psychic assault. If he breaks the nanite shield, we're done for." Locke's jaw clenched. "Then we have one option left." Kayla's eyes met his, fierce despite the pain. "I can stabilize the bond, if I fully integrate, but it may change me." Locke shook his head. You're humanity's hope. We'll face whatever comes." As Kayla began the ritual, her body shimmered, the nanites flooding her veins like liquid light. The chamber flooded with energy, a pulse that echoed deep into the planet's core. Suddenly, a wave of psychic force slammed through the vault, throwing everyone to the ground. The bond flickered violently. Vral's voice echoed like a nightmare. "Your defiance ends now." Locke rose, firing into the advancing coalition troops. Around him, soldiers fought with renewed desperation, their resolve fueled by Kayla's sacrifice. Minutes stretched into eternity. Kayla's form shimmered and changed, part human, part something else, glowing with raw power. Her voice, no longer entirely her own, spoke with authority that silenced the battlefield. "Terra demands balance. We give, and we take." Vral faltered, the psychic waves wavering. The tide of battle shifted, but the price was clear. Kayla's eyes, once warm and human, now gleamed with alien light. Her humanity was slipping away. Locke reached for her hand. "Come back to us." She smiled sadly. "I'm still here. But this power, it's a war within." The battle's crescendo reached a terrifying pitch. The line between salvation and destruction blurred forever. Kayla's transformation brings a fragile victory, but her shifting nature strains the fragile. Human alliance further. Vral, sensing his defeat, unleashes a devastating gambit that shatters the battlefield's fragile balance. Loyalties are tested, as Locke must choose between his commander and the future of humanity. The vault pulsed with a fierce light, the air thick with charged energy and the scent of ozone. Kayla stood at its center, her body a shimmering amalgam of man and machine, radiating power no human had ever wielded. Locke's eyes searched her face for the woman he knew. But the glow, behind her eyes, was alien, distant. "Maya," Locke whispered. "What's the status?" Her voice was grim. "Vral's forces are regrouping. He's preparing a final assault, a weapon that could tear Terra apart." Kayla's voice, layered and fractured, echoed. "Then we must act, before the planet's heart breaks completely." Locke felt a cold dread. The bond that saved them was now a double-edged sword, Kayla's humanity slipping as the nanites' influence grew. Suddenly, alarms blared. Vral's flagship breached the atmosphere, a colossal shadow blotting out the stars. The Coalition unleashed their ultimate weapon, a gravity bomb designed to collapse Terra's core. "Everyone to battle stations," Locke shouted. "We have minutes." Kayla closed her eyes, connecting deeper with the planet's nanites. The ground trembled as roots and stone bent to her will. But inside, her mind wrestled with the alien power consuming her. Locke confronted her in the command chamber. "Kayla, you're slipping away. Fight it. We need you." Her voice trembled with unfamiliar strength. "I am Terra's will now. But I remember." The battle outside was apocalyptic. The gravity bomb's pulse threatened to rip the planet apart, but Kayla's power pushed back, stabilizing the core with every ounce of her being. Vral's psychic fury reached a crescendo, sending waves of destruction toward the vault. Locke raised his rifle. "We fight for our future, for humanity." The final clash was not just of weapons, but of wills and hearts, where the true cost of power was finally revealed. In the devastating final battle, Kayla's full merge with Terra's nanites unleashes unimaginable power that reshapes the fate of both humans and aliens. Sacrifices are made, alliances are reforged, and a new chapter dawns, one where humanity's raw resilience and ancient world prove they are far from the galaxy's forgotten. The shattered skies roared above Terra's battered surface as the final wave of Vral's fleet descended. Their ships, once symbols of unstoppable power, now flickered with uncertainty beneath the planet's rising defense. Kayla stood atop the highest ridge, her form glowing fiercely, no longer just human, but Terra's living will. "Locke," she said, voice layered with synthetic hum and human warmth. "This ends now." Locke, battered but unbroken, raised his weapon. For humanity, for terror, a psychic scream tore through the air as Vral emerged from his flagship, a towering figure radiating malevolence. "You cannot contain me," he spat, launching waves of raw energy. Kayla reached deep within herself, summoning the full might of the nanites. The ground beneath Vral cracked and writhed, ensnaring him in chains of living rock. "This world is ours," Kayla declared, her voice thunderous. Vral's rage boiled, but his strength waned. The Coalition's command crumbled as their leader fell. In the aftermath, silence enveloped the battlefield, a silence born of exhaustion and rebirth. Locke approached Kayla, who now radiated a strange serenity. "You've changed," he said, softly. "I carry Terra's memory." "And humanity's hope," she replied. "We will rebuild." The galaxy watched in stunned reverence as Terra's Deathworld became the symbol of humanity's unstoppable spirit. A new dawn broke, one where humanity was no longer underestimated and where even Deathworlds held secrets beyond imagining.